Einen schönen guten Tag. Wir melden uns hier zurück von unserer Expert Stage hier auf der Gamescom 2016. Und ich habe hier einen netten jungen Mann sitzen, der kommt aus Kalifornien, aus dem Silicon Valley, von Infinity Ward. Ich stelle dir einfach vor, Lee Ross hat sich hier uns angeschlossen, um uns ein bisschen was vom Zombie-Modus des neuen Call of Duty Infinite Warfare zu erzählen. Und ich werde jetzt mal auf Englisch switchen, also ich versuche ein bisschen hier mit Englisch zu deletieren, damit Ross auch ein bisschen was versteht oder Lee ein bisschen was versteht. Aber bevor wir wirklich ins Detail gehen, würde ich sagen, gestern wurde der neue Trailer zum Zombie-Modus von Call of Duty Infinite Warfare veröffentlicht. Und da schauen wir einfach mal rein, damit ihr wisst, worauf wir uns jetzt hier gleich konzentrieren werden.
MC Bust Your Ass coming at you.
Welcome to the dork side.
Normally I'd say fight me, but let's not do that.
Why were clowns invited? No one likes clowns.
In Spaceland.
These kids are killing it.
Oh. This was your most famous person ever being in a Call of Duty game, huh?
David Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff.
Yes.
He plays the DJ in this episode, I would say, of the zombie mode. Let's start from the beginning. As far as I know, it's about 4 guys trying to get a role in a horror movie. And what happens next?
So we have these 4 actors that show up to an audition for a rather eccentric director. He invites them into his theater and suggests that they watch one of his older films, Zombies in Spaceland. And to their surprise, they're actually pulled directly into the film. And this is how we get the characters into the 1980s, into the theme park.
And as far as I remember, the director got a popular name, huh?
Yes, none other than Paul Rubens, a.k.a. Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
Where is the connection between a Call of Duty zombie mode and Pee Wee Herman? It's child movies. Yeah, it was family entertainment. So, what was the idea behind that to bring him back into a zombie game?
So we wanted to seek out some 80s icons, and David Hasselhoff and Paul Rubens are definitely big 80s icons. Exploring that time period, we really felt like they were really strong characters. And Paul's history, he's played some really villainous characters in the past. Going way back in Batman Returns, back in 1992, he actually played the Penguin's father.
And it's also Seth Green. He's one of the characters, as far as I know. Huh?
Yeah, that's right. So Seth Green is playing our nerd character. We have a couple of other stars, all from comedic backgrounds. So we have Ike Barinholtz, who is playing our jock, Jay Farrow, who is playing our rapper, and Sashir Zamata, who is playing our Valley Girl.
And how can I imagine this? you sit there and you know, okay, we have a new Call of Duty, and we definitely want to make a new zombie mode. How is the thinking process, the development process? What do you think, or what was there a creative meeting? Hey, let's bring all the ideas we have together and see what fits the best.
Well, I think first we said, let's just go absolutely crazy. No idea is too nuts. We knew we wanted to time travel. We wanted to go back in time, and the 80s felt like a really great place to do that. We also knew that we wanted to do something really fun and be a little bit different than the past Zombies experiences. So bringing the theme park and the 80s together just felt like a match made in heaven to us.
But I would say it's also a little bit risky, because you have a lot of young players, never been to the 80s, never lived in the 80s. So how do you balance this, that the new people will also like it, and old people like me remember all the movies and all the pop culture and all the gimmicks and all the toys they had in the 80s or know from the 80s? How do you find the balance to mix it up that everybody is satisfied?
Well, I think we do that with having a diverse crowd. I mean, you mentioned Seth Green earlier, who definitely attracts a much younger crowd than, say, Paul Rubens or David Hasselhoff would. But even David Hasselhoff, I mean, being featured in the SpongeBob movie, he has a certain draw with kids as well. So it was really mixing up the diversity of the crowd. Also, you know, the 80s is sort of having a pop culture resurgence. You know, you see people walking around with I Love the 80s t-shirts nowadays. So looking back into that time period, we wanted to find the things that were the most iconic. So you'll see things like zombies wearing fanny packs and the really crazy hairstyles, like the Flock of Seagulls hairstyle and mohawks and things like that. But it's also in the dialogue that the players say when they're playing. So like the Valley Girl, you'll hear her say things like totally and gag me with the spoon and things like that. So we really wanted to grab as much of that rich 80s culture and bring it forward, and I think we've done it very successfully.
So what's your favorite movie from the 80s?
Ooh, that's easy. Batman, 1989.
Okay, and how does this movie end up in the game?
Unfortunately, Batman is not in the game.
Damn it.
But hey, the Penguin's father is, right? Paul Rubens.
Okay. And can you say, or can you mention some movies and direct influences which ended up in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many great movies from that time period. I mean, really, if you look at our archetypes, they are characters ripped directly from those films, little bits and pieces of each of them, and their dialogue definitely sells that through. So, I mean, things like John Hughes films, like The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, but then even with our rapper, we wanted to touch on things like Beat Street and Break-In and Crush Groove. So we definitely wanted to take a little bit from all of those films and kind of create our characters based off of those experiences. And not even just film, but also music videos and music itself. Really, I mean, there was really great artists during that time musically. It was sort of the birth of rap music, right? And so you had acts like Run DMC, and also on the other spectrum of the 80s, NWA. And that's kind of the amalgamation of the rapper. So, like I said, it's kind of taking bits and pieces from all of that pop culture, bringing it together, and, you know, creating the formula for these characters.
And now, as I told you before, when the mics were shut down and the cameras went off, after I saw the trailer yesterday, my first impression was not the same, or it wasn't the same like I had with other zombie modes from Call of Duty, because as the trailer was made, for me it looked a little bit like it's more, I would say it goes in the direction Left 4 Dead, for example, goes, with a lot of, with hordes of zombies, with masses of zombies, wave after wave. Is this just my impression, or did you change it a little bit? Because I know from the older zombie modes, we have always this doors or this holes in the ground where the zombies came from up. Is it different now, or is it just the same? You can shut the doors down and close the holes and everything else?
Well, I can guarantee you the tried and true core zombies experience is there. It's a wave-based experience. You still barricade windows. You open doors to explore new areas. You purchase weapons from the wall. There are perks. And it really feels like a traditional zombies mode. but with a whole bunch of new stuff that we've brought to the table, which we think really enhances the experience and is really going to excite players.
What's an example for new stuff?
So as an example, we wanted to get players to play a little bit more cooperatively. So we have a system where you can actually purchase doors within the park as a team. So rather than one person having to pay for a door all on their own, all 4 players can pitch in a little bit of cash, and then they can open that door as a community, as opposed to one person having to do it.
And also, I guess we have Pack-a-Punch and what is... No. You mentioned also before some kind of power infusion.
Yeah, so we have, keeping the movie theater theme, we have the perks, which are in the theme of candy. So candy that you would pick up at a movie theater, very similarly themed. Some of these grant you some pretty awesome powers. We have one that's called Trailblazers. When a player slides on the ground, they ignite a trail of fire in front and behind them, and as zombies walk through it, it just lights them on fire. And then we have traditional stuff, which buffs the player. So we have another candy called Tough Nuff. When players consume that, they double their health, and they also get a much stronger melee attack.
And you always have to pay for the weapons again?
Weapons you always pay for.
Yeah.
In-game cash, you always have to pay for weapons, and doors, and perks.
And some new weapons in the game? Do we have some new weapons in the game? Some special weapons we have never seen before?
Oh, absolutely. So as you saw in the trailer, there's a few weapons that are doing some really cool things. Like we have one called the Forge Freeze, which when you freeze a zombie, with it you can shatter them into 100 pieces, which is awesome to see. And then we also have one called the Face Melter, which is one of our Spaceland zappers. This is a weapon that you have to find and construct within Spaceland. When you shoot a zombie with it, his legs turn into rockets, he blasts off into the air, and he explodes like a firework above the player.
But in the air, he could not destroy any other zombies.
He does. He actually drops sparks down on the other zombies, lighting them on fire.
Okay. It sounds like a bloody mess, a lot of bloody mess.
It's the only way we'd have it.
What were your fears by starting a new zombie mode? Because we have seen so many, and we have seen also zombie modes with a lot of pop cultural references like Call of the Dead. And now you have to start a new zombie mode. What are what are the biggest fears to get rid of and to try to avoid, for example, or let's say try to avoid?
Well, I wouldn't really classify it as fear, but it's more like excitement. It's an opportunity for us to tell a new story, to take players on a brand new adventure. You know, Spaceland is a fully functioning theme park, and it's not something that Call of Duty Zombies has ever experienced before. You know, in the trailer, you got to see people riding on the roller coaster, which 2 players can ride that roller coaster together and compete shooting targets. And within that, you can earn park tickets, which you can use all around the park at various stations to buy some really cool futuristic equipment.
And is this some kind of Easter egg?
Not necessarily an Easter egg. It's a system that we want players interacting with. So within the park, there's also the park attractions. You know, we have something called Escape Velocity, which is a sort of a space shuttle that spins around in a circle. And every time you get kills with the traps in the park, you earn tickets. Those tickets, like I said, can be cashed in for some awesome goodies.
But let's face it, it's a lot of fun inside this zombie mode. Yes, you see a lot of, I would say, not this harsh violence, but this funny violence. Yeah? How do you try to I think it's a strong contrast to, or it's a strong gap between the single player campaign, for example, and then this fun ride, as you said. Was this also a concern for you, or hey, we don't give a F word?
Well, we don't. We certainly don't. We wanted that contrast. I think that's the strongest appeal when you're introducing something brand new. When players come out of the campaign mode or come out of multiplayer mode and they jump into zombies, they're going to see an experience they've never seen before. It's nothing like the campaign at all. It's a boots-on-the-ground experience, tons of weapons. The traditional hardcore zombies experience is there with tons of Easter eggs. Hard ones, some a little bit easier than others, but we wanted it to be very different. I think that's a really strong appeal for what consumers are going to get out of this amazing package coming in Infinite Warfare this year.
And now, you mentioned before, we talked about before, oh, this is so loud. I'm sorry. David Hasselhoff. He plays the DJ in the disco, I guess. And now someone like Hasselhoff comes in to speak or to bring his text. What are the orders or what are the hints you give him? Or is there Hasselhoff comes in and hey, let them do what he wants. He will give us what we need, or do you have to guide him in some ways and say, hey, David, maybe it's a little bit too over the top here or there?
Well, we want David to be David. So, though we have a script that's written for him to come and perform, we love when he ad-libs. In fact, we encourage all of our actors to ad-lib and sort of bring their own personality to the table. You know, because David's playing the park DJ, he's giving important instructions to the players. He's also hinting at Easter eggs and things that you can do within the park. And because he's a DJ, he's also spinning up tracks. We have an awesome soundtrack filled in Zombies in Spaceland, and David's the guy bringing that all to you.
And does someone like Seth Green, who's also so deep into pop culture and does so many things like, I don't know, like Family Guy and all the, is he someone who can have influence on your creatings?
Absolutely. I mean, really they're influencing their character and who that character is and how he comes to life. Him being a comedic actor, there were lines that we didn't write that Seth just brought to the recording sessions, and once you hear it, you say, wow, that's really the character, and I love that. We have to find a way to work that into the game.
Can you give an example for this?
There's two. Oh, so the welcome to the dork side. The line that's in the trailer, that was actually from Seth.
It's a good line.
Yes.
And how big will this zombie mode be? How long can we play? Or can you say something about the playtime of...
So the playing time is as long as you can survive. This is a wave-based experience. So if you can make it to wave 200, you're pretty awesome.
So you have a finish line, or is there a finish line, or can I have also wave 1000?
Well, there's a story embedded within Zombies in Spaceland, and we want players to sort of uncover that by exploring the park, sort of figuring out all the little nooks and crannies, talking to Hasselhoff to get clues, and by solving some of these Easter eggs, you'll get to encounter things that you didn't see in the trailer and get exposed to more and more of the storyline.
And you won't say anything about this, huh? Yeah, we have some guys, some official guys over there. He looks right now mad at me. What is he saying? Okay.
He's like,
Liebe Regie, ist es schon soweit, dass wir switchen? 2 Minuten noch? Okay, then I try to find another question which is not too long. I know from my experience, I would say a little bit the lone wolf in the multiplayer. Yeah? And zombie mode, I know you have to count on other people. But how is it if I want to play alone?
So we introduced something new for a single player experience, and we know that Zombies is a really big mode. There's a lot to find, there's tons of Easter eggs, but we want to encourage new players to get involved in this experience. And so we actually have a tutorial built into Zombies in Spaceland that sort of teaches you the fundamentals of playing zombies. When you go up to purchase a door, it explains to you how the door system works. And when you purchase a weapon, it explains to you how the weapon system works. And this is really to encourage players to go a little bit further than just picking up the controller, playing a couple of rounds, and tapping out.
Okay. Then now I guess the time is now to change over to our other show. Ja. Ihr lieben Leute, nicht wundern, wir machen jetzt mal gleich einen kleinen Break, denn jetzt geht's hier gleich weiter mit Game Plus Daily, unsere Recap-Show ab 18 Uhr hier vom Expertstand. Und wir kriegen hier die normalen Titel angezeigt, danach geht's aber noch kurz weiter. Also nicht wundern, wenn jetzt hier nicht sofort Etienne oder Simon oder Fabian oder Max oder sonst wer hier sitzen. Ich werde noch gleich ein bisschen mit Lee irgendwie sprechen, aber vorher gucken wir uns dann einfach mal in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 Sekunden den Vorspann von Game Plus Daily an.